Have you ever found yourself thinking, am I overreacting? Am I too sensitive? Maybe you felt this way after a conversation that ended with you in tears and the other person smiling. But deep down, something inside you whispered that you were being emotionally manipulated, that you're in a relationship where you're hurt with a smile, and the pain is disguised as love. If you feel like something is wrong but can't explain what, this video is for you. I want to talk to you who are tired of being emotionally drained by someone who never takes responsibility, who turns their flaws into accusations against you and still makes it seem like you were the problem. You deserve to be heard, validated, and embraced. In this video, we'll explore together the 7 main traits of a covert narcissist. And not only that, I'll show you how the Bible brings healing, discernment, and freedom from this type of silent abuse, emotional and spiritual. Because yes, it's real. And yes, God cares. He doesn't close his eyes to the pain hidden behind closed doors. He sees what no one else sees. Imagine your mind as a room filled with natural light. The covert narcissist is like someone who constantly switches the lights on and off. Sometimes they shower you with compliments, treat you like the center of their world, then days later, ignore you, punish you with silence, or offer subtle criticisms. This inconsistency creates a state of hypervigilance. Your brain enters survival mode, as if it's always bracing for something bad, even without clear evidence. You live tense, afraid of making mistakes, carefully measuring every word. You begin to get used to the tension, and worse, you start to believe it's normal, that living in fear is part of loving, but it's not. It affects your sleep, your appetite, your productivity. You begin to live in red alert mode, even when you're at home. Anxiety becomes chronic, and you don't even notice you're fading away. God says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives." Christ's peace is not confusing, it's steady. God's presence brings clarity. If the relationship constantly steals your peace, it's time to reconsider where you are placing your heart. Because the heart is the wellspring of life, and you must guard it. Every time you try to stand up for yourself, the person flips the situation, calls you ungrateful, says you're cruel, that they've done everything for you. The focus shifts. From victim, you become the aggressor. And that's when you begin to silence yourself. You start hiding your feelings, ignoring your own limits. You say, "I felt ignored when I needed you." Typical narcissist response? "Funny, I've always been there for you. You're the one who never understands me." You start doubting your emotions, feel guilty for feeling hurt, and you try to make up for it doing more than you can, suppressing your truth. That's not love. That's emotional control disguised as affection. Jesus never allowed himself to be manipulated. In Luke 4, when people tried to pressure him to perform miracles to prove something, he simply said, "No prophet is accepted in his hometown." Truth is more important than pleasing others. True love corrects with humility, not guilt. Jesus acted with compassion, but also with firmness. He knew who he was, and you can learn to remember who you are too. The covert narcissist doesn't say, "Don't talk to that person." They simply imply it. They criticize your family, plant doubts about your friends, question the faith of your spiritual leaders. They say, "They don't understand us. No one wants to see us happy. They're influencing you." Words that isolate, creating walls between you and the world. Over time, you start to isolate yourself and become emotionally dependent only on them. When you need support the most, you realize you are alone. Your world has shrunk. You stop trusting the voices that could help you because they taught you to fear them. But the Bible says in Hebrews 10:25 not to forsake assembling together, being in fellowship. Isolation is fertile ground for the enemy to plant lies. God's love flourishes in community. God speaks through healthy people. True love doesn't isolate you, it connects you. It expands your world, not limits it. True love celebrates your friendships, supports your dreams, and encourages your growth. God places people around us as beacons in the storm. Why take that course? That's not for you. They sabotage you with kindness. They slowly chip away at your self-confidence with comments, jokes, and comparisons. Over time, you stop trying, stop dreaming, stop expressing yourself. And when you stop dreaming, something inside you begins to die. You stop recognizing yourself. Everything revolves around them. Your inner voice has been silenced. And when you try to react, it feels too late. But it's not. Isaiah 43:1 says, "I have called you by name. You are mine. God gave you a unique identity. He knows you and calls you to flourish. No healthy relationship erases the purpose God placed in you.
It's as if you have freedom, but everything you do outside of their approval brings emotional retaliation. They don't shout, but they punish you with silence, sarcasm, or coldness. You go out with friends. They respond with indifference. You make a decision. They say, "Do whatever you want," in a tone that shatters you. You stop living for yourself and start living for their approval, and that drains your very essence. Your choices are no longer free. You become a prisoner of conditional love. But Galatians 5:1 says, "It is for freedom that Christ has set us free." The Spirit of God doesn't imprison you. He empowers you to live. Someone who truly loves you doesn't manipulate. They guide, not control. God's love empowers. It doesn't diminish. This is called gaslighting. They say, "That never happened. You're imagining things." You begin to question your own memory, your feelings, your sanity. You keep explaining yourself, apologizing. You feel unstable, even begin to doubt your sanity. But the truth is, your sanity is intact. It's the environment around you that is sick. Proverbs 3:5 calls us to trust in God and not lean on our own understanding. But that doesn't mean accepting distortions. God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. 1 Corinthians 14:33, truth, even when painful, heals. Lies disguised as care will make you sick. God's peace restores your mind, your heart, your vision. When you threaten to leave, they change. They become affectionate, promise change, make future plans. You believe it, return, and the cycle starts again. You live in an emotional loop. Your heart grows tired. Your faith grows tired. You begin to believe there is no such thing as true love, but that's not true. True love does exist. There is a love that doesn't require performance, that doesn't manipulate, that doesn't punish you with mood swings. There is a love that is constant, eternal, and faithful. God doesn't act through manipulation. He says, "I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you with unfailing kindness." Love is not blackmail. Love doesn't imprison you with fear of loss. Love gives freedom. True love lifts you up, heals, strengthens. God's love is a solid rock when everything else falls apart. Maybe you recognize yourself in several of these stages. Maybe you've been silent for years. Maybe you're even afraid to call it abuse. But here is a simple and deeply liberating truth. You no longer need to live trying to be enough for someone who feeds off your pain. You were not created to sustain a toxic relationship at the expense of your emotional and spiritual health. Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." That rest is not just spiritual, it's emotional. It's the end of the cycle. It's the beginning of restoration. At the cross, he also carried your emotional wounds, even those no one sees, even those you justified in the name of love, even the guilt you don't know where it came from. You can rest today. You can rise again with the grace that frees, heals, and restores. You no longer need to protect yourself from everything. The blood has already done that for you. You can say, "Enough." You can start over. You can seek help, open your heart to wise counsel, rebuild your faith in a safe environment. God doesn't want you living in emotional prisons. He came to set the captives free. If this video spoke to your soul, share it with someone in this silent battle. Leave a comment saying, "Grace is healing me." That will be a sign of faith and an act of courage. And remember, you are loved, seen, and called by a God who does not manipulate. He sets free, always. He heals, always. He transforms stories, and yours could be next.